Welcome to The Explainer. You know, a lot of betting comes down to gut feelings, right? But what if there was a more methodical way to approach it? Well, today, we're going to dive into a classic strategy that tries to do exactly that. It's called the DeLambert system.
So, the big question is, can math actually help you manage your bets? Can it give you some kind of an edge? We're going to explore that very question by digging into one of the oldest strategies out there, a system that's all about bringing structure to your betting.
All right, so a system for betting. We're talking about the DeLambert system today. The whole idea here is to get away from just picking random stake sizes. This is all about introducing a clear, methodical approach to your staking plan. And listen, this is not some new thing someone cooked up last week. It's named after Jean-Laurent d'Alembert, a French mathematician from the 18th century. So yeah, its roots go way, way back. He was basically trying to apply pure logic to games of chance.
Okay, so what is it? The core idea is actually super simple. It's what we call a negative progression strategy. All that means is this. After a loss, you increase your stake by 1 unit. After a win, you decrease it by 1 unit. That's it. The whole goal is to manage your money through these small step-by-step changes.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does this actually work in practice? Because you can't just jump in and start betting. There are two really important first steps you have to take to set this up right. Step 1, set your total bankroll. And I mean it. This is the absolute total amount you are willing to risk. Don't skip this. Step 2, define your base betting unit. This is just your starting stake. A good rule of thumb is to make it about 1 to 2% of your total bankroll. Seriously, these two things, they're the foundation. The whole system falls apart without them.
Now, what's great about this is that it's considered way more conservative than some of the other systems out there, like the martingale. You've probably heard of that one, where you have to double your stake after every single loss. I mean, that can get out of hand fast. The d'Alembert is much slower, much safer, and honestly, that's probably why people are still talking about it today.
Okay, enough theory. It's one thing to talk about it, but it's another to see it in action. So, let's do a quick walkthrough. I promise this will make it all click.
Okay, check this out. We're starting with a €100 bankroll, and our base unit is €10. So, bet hash 1, we stake 10, we win. Nice. Bankrolls at 110. Bet hash 2, we stake 10 again, we win again. Awesome. Now we're at 120. But bet hash 3, we lose. So what happens? Our stake goes up by 1 unit to €20 for the next bet. Then we lose again, so it goes up to 30. But then on bet hash 5, we win. We get that 30 back, and our next stake would drop back down to 20. See how it works? It's just a simple up and down ladder.
Now, you can't just use this on any old bet. This strategy really works best on markets where there are basically 2 outcomes, and the odds are close to even money, around 2.00 or 1 for 1. Think about stuff like over-under goals in football or both teams to score. It's designed for those 50-50 coin flip type of bets.
And of course, to make any strategy work, you've got to find the right place to bet. Somewhere that offers these kinds of markets with decent odds. If you are looking for a list of the best betting sites in your country with a 300% bonus, just search for betplace.us in your browser. It's a good place to start.
So, we've seen how it works, but let's get real for a second. Every system has its good side and its bad side. So what are the actual benefits versus the drawbacks? What's the reality check here?
Okay, let's break it down. The pros, it's a low-risk plan, which is great. It's also super simple to understand and use, so it's perfect for beginners. But the cons, the returns are pretty limited. We're not talking huge payouts here. And if you hit a nasty losing streak, man, the recovery is slow. And you can't forget the biggest opponent of all, the house edge, or the VIG. That's always working against you, no matter what system you use.
Yeah, and this quote really sums it up perfectly. The d'Alembert system isn't a magic bullet. Its whole point, the main idea, is to reduce your risk and minimize your losses. It's about keeping you in the game, not about making you rich overnight.
And one of the only ways to fight back against that house edge is to always be on the lookout for the highest possible odds. You've got to shop around. Speaking of which, if you are looking for a list of the best betting sites in your country with a 300% bonus, just search for betplace.us in your browser. It helps you compare and find the best value out there.
Okay, so let's put it all together. We've seen how it works, we've seen the pros, we've seen the cons. The big question now is this strategy for you? Let's get to the final verdict.
And just to make things a little more interesting, there's also something called a reverse d'Alembert. It does exactly what it sounds like. It flips the whole thing on its head. You decrease your stake after a loss, and you increase it after a win. So you're basically trying to ride your winning streaks. But how do these different systems hold up when you hit a really bad run?
Whoa, okay, look at this table. This really puts it into perspective. After a brutal 7-bet losing streak, with the Martingale system, you'd be down 1,270 euros. Ouch. With the standard D'Alembert, 280. Much better. But look at the reverse D'Alembert, only 70 euros lost. It's a crystal clear example of how these more conservative plans can protect your bankroll when things go south.
So what are the big takeaways here? First, the main goal is to minimize your losses, not to chase huge profits. It's really useful for short-term goals if you have a small, well-managed bankroll. But here's the biggest challenge, and it's a big one. You have to decide when to stop. There's no magic signal. And remember, bouncing back from a long losing streak is really, really tough with the system.
So it's so important to remember this. All these betting systems, they're just staking plans. They're totally legal ways to manage your money, but they are absolutely not a guaranteed way to win. Nothing is. And if you are going to try something like this, please make sure you're on a trusted platform. And like I said, if you are looking for a list of the best betting sites in your country with a 300% bonus, just search for betplace.us in your browser. It's a solid resource.
Which leaves us with one final big question you have to ask yourself. Is that predictable, limited risk really worth the slow and honestly unpredictable recovery you'll face after a losing streak? That's the trade-off. That's the whole game right there.